Eureka, Module 2, Lesson 3. Let's get started. I can write and interpret numerical expressions and compare expressions using a visual model. So for today's lesson, we need the usual materials. In addition to your laptop and headphones, you are going to need your notebook because you're going to be writing both expressions and words. And you're also going to need your Eureka Learn book for your exit ticket. Before we get started with some problems, let's talk a little bit about vocabulary. So go ahead and please write these words as well as their definitions down. The first word is sum, S-U-M. And the sum is the answer to an addition problem. Make sure that you are writing this down to reference later on in the lesson. The next word that we will be looking at is difference. And difference is similar. It's the answer to a subtraction problem. And then the final word that we're going to focus on today is product. And the product is the answer to a multiplication problem. Go ahead and pause the video if you need to so that you can copy this down. Okay, so for problems 1, 2, and 3, we're going to be looking at words, and we need to change them into a numerical expression. So we're going to represent it with numbers and symbols. So the first problem says 3 times the sum of 26 and 4. So most of these expressions are going to be split up into 2, maybe even 3 parts. So the first thing that I notice is that it's saying 3 times. So I know that no matter what the rest of it says, it's going to start with 3 times. So I'm going to go ahead and write 3 times. And it's saying 3 times the sum of 26 and 4. So the thing that we're multiplying 3 times is going to be this, the sum of 26 and 4. And I remember that the sum is the answer to an addition problem. So I'm going to write 26 plus 4. Now, the last thing that I need to do to make this accurate is I need to reread this. And if I just read this straight across, then it's going to be 3 times 26, and then I'm going to add 4 at the end. But it's actually saying that I'm going to take 26 plus 4, and I'm going to multiply both of those numbers by 3. So in order to make that represent the words, I'm going to put parentheses around the 26 plus 4. 3 times the sum of 26 and 4. Let's take a look at one more. It says 6 times the difference between 60 and 51. How is this problem going to start? This problem is going to start with 6 times. And now it's saying 6 times the difference between 60 and 51. So the difference, if you remember, is the answer to a subtraction problem. So it's going to be 6 times the difference between 60 minus 51. Now, just like in problem number 1, if I read this straight across, it would be 6 times 60, and then I would subtract 51 from that. But that's not what I want to do. I actually want to do 6 times the difference between 60 and 51, and the difference is 9. So it's got to be 6 times 9. And the way that I can make it 6 times 9 is by putting parentheses around these two numbers. Let's take a look at the last problem. The sum of 2 12s and 4 3s. See if you can solve this one on your own. What is the sum of 2 12s and 4 3s? So in this problem, when it says the sum of, I picture 2 things are being added. I just don't know what is on both sides. So it's the sum of one thing and another thing. So it says the sum of two 12s. Well, I have to ask myself, how do I write two 12s? A 12 and a 12. Well, I have a couple options. I could do 12 plus 12, but I'm going to do 2 times 12. So I'm going to write 2 times 12 here. And 4 3s. Same strategy. I can represent 4 3s by writing 4 times 3. And just like in the other problems, I want to put parentheses around both sides. So I'm going to put parentheses here because I want to look at those as one unit, and then here because I want to look at those as one unit as well. We just tried turning words into numbers. Let's see if we can turn numbers into words. Okay. So this looks a lot like problem 2. So if I took good notes on problem 2, then I might be successful with this one. It's 8 times 43 minus 13. So I can actually look back at my notes and see what it said. It was 6 times the difference between, and that's how we talk about a subtraction problem. So let's go back. So I can write this as 8 times, and I'll pick pink for this one. Go ahead and write this down with me. 8 times the, I'm trying to remember how, again, I say the word for the answer to a subtraction problem. And it's different. So 8 times the difference between 43 and 13. And that's it. It's 8 times this number, which is the difference between 43 and 13. One more. So this says 16 plus 9 with parentheses times 4. So I need to figure out a way to clump these together. How do you say the answer to an addition problem? You say it with sum. So I would say the sum of, and let's pick red. I would say the sum of, please write this with me, the sum of 16 and 9. And what are we doing to this? I can't say the sum of 16 and 9 times 4 because it's confusing about what's happening with the 9. So I would say the sum of 16 and 9 multiplied by 4. Now, with the associative property, I can also move this 4 to the other side and do 4 times. So I could also write, please write this with me, 4 times the sum of 16 and 9. Okay, let's take a look at one more problem together, and then we can move on to our exit ticket. Okay, this really closely matches problem 3. So go ahead and look at your notes from problem 3 and see if you can figure out how to put this into words. Remember that problem 3 was, let me move this out of the way, was this. This is what we saw for problem 3. See if you can use that technique to answer question 6. Go ahead and turn this into words. Okay, for this question, it would be, looking back at our notes, it would be there we go. It would be the sum of two numbers. So the sum of, and I could phrase this in a couple different ways. I could say the sum of the product of 20 and 3, but I think it would just be easier if I use the same language from problem 3. So the sum of, well, it's 3s, and there are 20 of them, so 23s. And 5 threes. I could also say the sum of 3 20s and 3 5s. That part doesn't matter. Okay, for your exit ticket, which you will find in your Learn book, go ahead and see if you can answer all of this. This one, question 2 here, is a bonus question, so don't worry if you're having a hard time with that one. Focus on writing the numerical expression of these two. So focus on writing the numerical expression from the words. Good luck, and I'll see you next time.